On Two Wheels this week, we meet the Scotsmen who ride Supermoto. Robert continues his journey from Madras to Manchester, and we ride Kawasaki's top-selling ZX6R.
Well, if you haven't already guessed, that's Paul and I in Scotland, eh? You know, trying to do our Highland Games thing. And the Scots have got absolutely naff all to worry about because we were crap. Well, the truth of the matter is we're in Scotland to meet some rather strange Scotsmen. They're nice lads, but the fact is they don't know whether they want to be off-road or on-road. Take a look at these.
So on-road or off-road? That is the question. Well, a popular off-road bike is a Honda XR250, which normally looks something like this. It's got knobbly tyres, a fair amount of off-road capability, and quite often it's full of mud and filthy dirty. Here's a Honda XR250 that certainly isn't full of mud. It's beautifully polished, and Hamish Hamilton is the creator of this. Obviously, a lot of work gone into this, Hamish.
A lot of work, a lot of man hours.
Yeah.
Usual stories, super motard, 17-inch rims, new exhaust system, increased diameter front disc for stopping power.
Right.
Just all the usuals. Good bike all round.
You bought this brand new as an XR250?
Sure did, straight out of the crate.
With knobbly tyres and all that?
Yep.
Did you buy it with the purpose of converting it to what it is now, a Supermoto?
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Right.
I had the idea in my head and that's what I wanted to do, yeah.
Right, and has it turned out the way you wanted it?
It's great fun. Round the town, with being a smaller capacity, it's great. You can keep up with all the larger bikes round the town.
Yeah.
It's excellent fun, yeah.
Right, so what does it stand you at now? I don't mean taking away the initial cost of the bike, extra money.
All in, it's cost me about £1,000 to do it, to convert it.
Well worth it, money well spent, again.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now? Is there any more bits you can stick on it? I like this bash plate, by the way. This very fancy polished bash plate.
Yeah, it's a French bash plate.
You'll not be going over any rocks with that on?
No, not at all, not at all. Finishes it off the bottom of the engine. The engine was a bit open, so.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you can do to it? Can you stick any more bits on it? Or what?
There's loads more you can do to it, it's endless. However, the bike's up for grabs and...
You're going to get rid of it? You spent all that time and all that money and all that thought and now you're going to flog it?
Yeah, I want something bigger and new projects, start again.
Another Supermoto project?
Most definitely, great fun.
Anything in mind?
Water-cooled 650, something like that.
Right, well when you've done it, give us a ring.
I will do.
Brilliant, yeah, that's what you can do with an XR250. But there's more.
Yeah, there is more. There's more in the way of CCs. It's no bigger sort of like height and everything, but CCs, because this is 400 CCs. John, this is your baby. And a beautiful little thing it is too, with loads of bolt-on bits and pieces. More than ever. What on earth have you got on it?
Well, starting in the engine, there's an HRC tuning kit, so that gives it a bit more poke. Obviously the 17-inch wheels, the big disc brake, fully floating 4-pot caliper, little computer, took the satellite navigation off, steering damper, stiffened forks, lowered back end.
Hang on now, you're boring us now. I mean, you know, it did start as an Honda XR. I mean, it's finished up as John's baby, some creation, isn't it, you know?
Yeah, but it's a multi-purpose bike for me. It has to do everything. It's my only transport. So when I get bored with the road wheels, I swap back to the dirt wheels. I do the occasional enduro and just go trail riding too.
You obviously love this type of bike. I mean, you know, sell it to the viewer. Tell us why they should consider having a Supermoto.
Well, I'm past 40 now and I've had 37 bikes.
You're not.
Yeah. And I just decided I was going a bit crazy on the road and just decided to cool it a bit. And this is Hootsville, you know, I can do so much with this. And pop wheelies here and there, stoppies, and just have a blast. Slower speeds, even get good fuel economy. So yeah, it's good fun.
It is just about the best all-round type of biking then.
It's like they used to be in years gone by.
Yeah.
You could do a hill climb on it, an enduro, trail ride,
everything.
Ride to work, whatever.
I noticed it's got a rack thing on the back here, so you carry goodies.
Well, that was actually for going to Andorra. This bike, believe it or not, is only a year old, just over a year old, and it's done 14,000 miles. So.
And you've been to Andorra?
Yeah, I rode it down.
Did you get a sore backside?
No, it wasn't too bad because of a slightly different seat.
So they're even multi-purpose with comfort and the ability to carry things and go to Andorra. What more could a man ask for out of his motorcycle? Well, I suppose you could go just a tad bigger, and yes, there is even bigger ones.
And here is the big bruiser. And the bike's quite big as well. This is Alan Craze, creator of this wonderful 600 Supermoto. You love it, don't you?
Brilliant, Paul.
Your
Brilliant.
pride and joy.
It is, yes.
Right, you've done what the other guys have done. Smaller wheels,
Yep.
road tyres, fancy gold rims on this one. You've got a supersonic front brake, haven't you?
I have.
Tell me about that.
It's a one-off 320mm fully floating front disc with a Harrison 6-pot caliper.
A 6-pot caliper.
A 6-pot.
That is really over the top braking, isn't
Literally, you are over the top.
it? Right over the bars. Serious stoppy.
Yep.
Right. It's brilliant, but it looks great. How does it ride? It's an off-road bike, essentially. You've now kind of converted it to road stuff, but does it still ride like an off-road, or does it?
Well, the suspension is slightly changed. It's slightly harder for the road. But apart from that, it's still on stock suspension.
Right.
Um,
So it's all right. It's not odd to ride it on the road. It doesn't feel odd.
no,
No.
it's very softly sprung.
Right.
So it's good for the bends.
I bet it is, and I bet with that front caliper there, you surprise a few sports bike
You
riders.
certainly do, especially breaking into corners
I can imagine.
and with the unlimited ground clearance as well.
Yeah.
Very fast round the corners.
So almost the ultimate bike, eh?
Near enough, Paul.
Near enough. What would you change it for now?
Right this minute, I wouldn't have anything else.
No?
No,
It does everything you want to do, does it?
everything. Maybe later on in the year, when the winter comes, I'll maybe put a big bore kit in it, take it out to 630.
A few more bob, eh? Yeah. So what's it cost you to do this?
About £1,200 all
Yeah.
in. Yep,
Yeah, well worth it.
I think so anyway.
Money well spent.
Definitely.
So there you have it, Supermoto. That's giving you some ideas what you can all go and spend your money on now, what you're going to buy. Alan, let me ask you first, we never really got to this. Why Supermoto?
Well, I've had all the sports bikes under the sun over the 15, 16 years that I've been into bikes, and it was just getting silly speeds. And it doesn't matter how fast I go in this, I'll never lose my licence in a winter.
Right.
And I can have as much fun in my Supermoto as I do on any sports bike.
Well, there you go. That's a good advert. If ever one. What about you, Amy? It's the same question.
Racing's getting far too expensive now, so next best thing, build yourself one of these. Great fun.
Right.
That's all I can say. Great fun.
And you can do on this more or less what you can do on a road bike, can't you?
Yes, you can. Like Alan says as well, you're not going to lose your licence. So 80 mile an hour, 85 mile an hour, that's about it. But getting there, good fun.
That's all you need, isn't it? You don't need to go that fast. John, same sort of question.
Yeah.
Why Supermoto?
I wanted to go road racing, found it too expensive, did a bit of trials, and the Supermoto bike, I can chop and change the wheels between the road wheels or the dirt wheels. I can do the odd enduro when I can afford it, and it's my daily road bike as well, and it's just an absolute hoot. And like the other boys, I may keep my licence and upset some sport bikers on the way.
I bet you do, yeah. Well, anything that helps us keep our licence is going to be a good thing. I think they're fantastic. I think I'll have this one.
Where's them sheep gone? It's starting to rain, for goodness sake. Come on, put your coats on.
In the news this week, the Norton Nemesis Superbike will have the greatest power to weight ratio ever seen on a bike. Weighing in at just 195 kilos, it is expected to make 280 brake horsepower. The Nemesis will cost around £30,000. And Honda's CBR 600 won the S registration battle during August. 777 new Honda CBRs were registered during the month, compared to 710 Kawasaki ZX 6Rs. And coming up after the break, a close look at the new Kawasaki ZX 6R.
Week 2 of our grand adventure, and we've not got very far. After enjoying the ancient town of Hampi, we were back in Madras, in search of a good meal and a good mechanic. My Spanish girlfriend Nuria had her own version of events.
Robert wanted to fix the bike himself, but he was completely useless, so I decided to go and have an adventure of my own. The origins of Kathakali dancing go back 500 years.
Meanwhile, back at the backstreet garage, I was becoming quite an expert on forks, plugs and carburettors. I now fancied my chances on the open road once more, and decided to get dressed before heading for Puri, in the hope of linking up with a local Hells Angels chapter. However, I didn't get very far. After just 1 hour and only 50 kilometres, my dreams of becoming an easy rider turned sour once more. All the wires on the bike fused, and I was back at the mercy of another mechanic. So we're stuck in a little town called Red Hills, about 50 kilometres from Madras, in a mechanic shop.
We set off again, but I was very scared of the motorbike and the dangerous Indian roads. The crash trucks were a sign for more problems to come, not with the bike but with my body. We hit some sand and came off the bike, and I badly burned my leg. Robert, of course, escaped without a scratch.
It's quite painful, and I will kill him.
To make matters worse, my leg wasn't the only injury. I now had a serious case of Delhi belly.
You had to take vitamins, antibiotics, diorite solution to give you everything that you've lost.
Digestion?
Don't know what they're for. To cheer her spirits, and after a good dose of antibiotics, I played Sir Galahad and let Nuria drive the bike after seeing the Karnak temple. Our next destination, Calcutta. It had taken us more than 2 weeks to get to West Bengal and the great city of Calcutta. Densely populated and polluted, it is often an ugly and desperate place that to many people sums up the worst of India, yet to us it was fascinating, and the people were certainly the most friendly we've met so far. Calcutta is also the last bastion of the hand-pulled rickshaw. We had a shock on our second day though, when we found a goat tethered to our bike. the Muslim festival of Eid had started, and yes, you've guessed it, the goat became dinner after the ritual sacrifice of Kalbani. Nuria was clearly distressed by the sacrifice of the goat and was fed up of the cheap hotels.
Disgusting, but Robert don't want to spend more than 150 rupees.
By now, Nuria needed a break from carburettors, crashes and curries. She wanted to be wined and dined, and a chance to get dressed up in something other than a leather jacket. She soon got that opportunity when our story appeared in the Bengali Times, and the fashion editor asked her if she wanted to model some saris for his weekly magazine. The elation wasn't to last long, as the monsoon soon hit us, and the streets of Calcutta were quickly underwater. The rubbish that had been there the day before was now around everybody's feet, even those that tried to avoid it.
Look down at the feet. As you can see, new leather shoes, absolutely ruined.
It was the signal to pack our bags and head for the old British hill station of Darjeeling, where the heat, humidity and hassle of the Indian plain evaporated. It is also the area that produces a quarter of all India's tea, as well as being the home to a rare snow leopard breeding programme run by the dedicated Kiran Mokhtan.
Unfortunately, their numbers are very few up in the mountains, and the experts strongly fear that if we do not take a proper step right now, that in near future these animals might come to an extinction.
These rare animals are reputably less keen to breed in captivity than the panda, but they've had some success here. After a relaxing week, we set off once more in the direction of Delhi, but soon ran into problems when a lorry driver reversed into us.
I can't fix it. It's a new bike, man. New bike. And you just reversed into me.
He didn't have any money, however his deal was to offer us a Cobra at a discount price. I doubted whether Manchester Customs would be too happy with this import. The stress had finally taken its toll. I felt shattered, and it was time to let the train take the strain.
Now, I probably don't need to tell you that the 600 class is the most hotly contested class in biking that there is, and this is Kawasaki's latest contender, a green meanie, or more like a Ninja Warrior. It's a ZX6R, and things have changed a lot. So what's changed? For a start off, completely new frame. They've increased the depth, they've increased the width of the frame there, but kept the weight down. The engine is new, 106 brake horsepower. It's probably truer to say it's a development, but that's a hell of a lot of power from a 600. It's got magnesium cases. Not everywhere, I don't think. These are painted nice magnesium colours to give you that impression, but magnesium side cases have saved a lot of weight. Up the front, it's got the forks off the ZX9, 46mm stanchions. Those are really hefty, no flexing off this. It's got the same brakes off the ZX9. In fact, you could start to think that it is a ZX9, but they're 6-pots, and they're going to stop you on nothing. A sixpence, I should have said. Now, the clocks are new as well. Down here you've got a small speedometer and the large rev counter, and they've got digital displays down at the bottom which give you the mileage, trip and also the time of day. Very useful. But one thing I must say, that speedo is incredibly small. It's calibrated up to 170, but anything over 70 start to get blurred, and so perhaps that's a sort of Kawasaki's way of making you preserve your license. If you can't read the speedo over 70, you're going too fast. And of course what you can't miss, if you're the pilot on this, is Kawasaki's ram air ducts. They curve round here into the frame and eventually into the airbox, which incidentally is more than an airbox. It's more like a musical box because you get this lovely sing-song when you whack it open. And down below there you've now got a super duper curved radiator, real Grand Prix stuff, or superbike stuff should I say. And not only that, behind that you've got stainless steel exhaust headers going right back to this gorgeous silencer. And look at the size of that, absolutely massive. While we're down here you can see the rear shock in its gold anodised finish, and up there is a little piggyback reservoir. The adjustments are on the other side there for compression, but down there you can see the preload for the spring. Taking us up to the back wheel, you've got a box section swinging arm, pretty conventional, but the back wheel's in fact got a 5.5-inch rim on it. At the moment it's got a 170 tyre, but you can take it up to a 180 tyre if you're going racing. But this bike isn't all about racing, even though you feel like it is sometimes. It's still a bike for the road. Ninja it might say, but Howling Wolf it is. Responsible is that musical airbox under the tank, making the most wonderful noises. It's as if air is being drawn through some giant mouth organ. It's absolutely brilliant and can keep you entertained for hours, zipping up and down the 6-speed box like some displaced tap dancer. Yes, no doubt about it, entertainment is this quacker's forte. 14,000 revs comes up in no time at all, making it hard to realise you're on a 600. But ease off a touch and you have a tractable 600 pulling away smoothly, until that Banshee whale starts at around 8 grand and you're off again, playing races. Producing an absolutely amazing 106 brake from the 599cc motor, this is the most potent road bike the 600 class has yet seen and will be the benchmark for the new Yamaha R6 to beat. But it's not all Looney Tune stuff. There is life below 8 grand. It's just that above that is where the real fun starts. Chassis-wise, it's a beaut. It's light at 176 kilo and it's chuckable but not frisky. In fact, it's got suspension that's perfectly matched to whatever you want to do. It feels on the soft side at lower speed but seems to firm up the faster you go, just the way it should be. It's a short, cubby bike but doesn't feel too small, and there's plenty of room to move about on the big seat, which incidentally isn't as comfortable as it looks. Numb bum sets in at around 100 miles, but at least the fairing is surprisingly effective at keeping you out of the elements. Brakes are what we've come to expect, smooth, powerful and progressive, so what more can you say? Only that you get a 2-year warranty and a guarantee of fun on this ball of fire, and all for around 7,500 on the road. Mean or green, it can be both, but the meaner the better.
On Two Wheels next week, Chaz Mitchell reports from this year's Southwest Motorcycle Show, and Wayne discovers a new way of testing his helmet.